Welcome back to the Daily Drum on WHUR and Sirius XM Channel 141. This is the Inside segment. I'm Harold Fisher. We are doing our annual Valentine's Day show. It is one of my favorite shows because we're talking about love, relationships, and of course, how to make them better. Tonight, we're asking a question that all of us who are interested in partnering want an answer to. How do you know when you are ready to love? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What's going on in your head and heart? We have a lot to talk about. Joining us to help navigate this issue is Dr. Roz Aker-Black, relationship expert and clinical psychologist. We also have two married couples with us to share the wealth of their experience, Brandolyn and Leon Anderson. They've been married for 11 years. Brandolyn calls herself the joy builder, and who certainly would not want a wife who has that title? That way, your husband won't be a husband. Also, we have Walter and Sabrina Jones. Now, they've been married for 3 months. They got married in November. Yeah. Big up to them. Now, both of them were actually on separate seasons of Ready to Love. I'm still trying to figure out how that worked. So we're going to get into all of this and talk about all of these things as we lead into Valentine's Day weekend. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. Unfortunately, we don't have Leon for very long because at the last minute he's got work to do. And we are certainly all supportive of BMWs, Black Men Working. So we are going to kind of start with Leon. Leon, first of all, how did you meet Brandolyn? And when did you know that you were ready to love?
So I met Brandolyn at a nightclub.
I think he's muted.
It was not a club.
No. Go ahead. I can hear you. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead. You met her at the club, Lord.
Yes, but it wasn't a nightclub. It was just like a little bar. And coincidentally, I went out on a date that night by myself. And I was coming home. I went to the movies, and I was coming home, and something just pulled me into this little bar and said, you know what? Let me stop by for a minute. I stopped in there, had a beer, engaged around, and I saw a beautiful young lady, and I saw a guy mopping a floor. Next thing you know, the guy mopping the floor and the beautiful young lady ended up almost falling into my arms because the guy was mopping the floor and she literally fell into my arms.
Wow.
And we had a that's how you're doing it. And we had a conversation. But prior to that, I must say I had dated before many times, and I said to myself, I wasn't happy. And I said to myself, you know what? I deserve better for myself because I wasn't happy in my other relationships. And I said, you know what? I'd rather be by myself than try to be with someone. So after I had met Brandolyn, I had a conversation with her. I said, you know what? She's the one. I made that decision to myself saying, hey, she fits all the qualities that I am looking for. God made this space and provided this space for us to meet at this time. So you know what? I'm going to roll with it. And ever since that day, I've spoken with her every day since for the past 11, 12 years.
So, wow. So when did you know that you were ready to love, that you were in love with her? Was there a lightning bolt or was it a slow burn? How long did it take?
It didn't take long. It took that first night after a conversation. It's a feeling you get. It's annoying.
I'm sorry, Leon. I hate to interrupt you, but you said it happened on that first night. This is a family show, so let's keep it PG. But go ahead.
Yeah, Harold.
We can't hear Leon at all.
Hey, that's when that's
a great
look.
We can't hear him at all.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Really? Okay. That's when you know it's real because it wasn't nothing physical. It's all spiritual.
Okay.
You know, I felt it. Yeah, I felt it because, like I said before, I know what I wanted. And I was just lucky enough for God to just have that person in front of me and actually for me to realize that, look, this is the person that you've been looking for right in front of you. Now, I can't speak for everyone else. You know, sometimes it takes time. But like I said, I was in a place where I was ready. And I take it she was too after our conversation. Because it's love. Love is a feeling. I mean, it's something that you have to feel it. You know, if you don't feel it, then it's not real.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Serendipity.
Yeah, Brandolyn, same question. How did you know?
So it took a little bit longer for me. I was never the girl who wanted to get married, who planned to get married. That was not on my bingo card. I was like, we're good. But Lee and I really had a lot of, so what he missed saying was that we met in September of 2014. And then we were engaged in May of 2015 and married in July of 2015. And part of the reason why that happened was because in October, my mother called me and was having a pretty serious medical issue, and I had to go back home to California. And at that time, Lee's mom, his biological mom, was transitioning. And he found out she was really sick. So I had to go to California for an undetermined amount of time. He had to, be here and go to New York to visit his mom for an undetermined amount of time. Back.
Oh my.
And then we were able to sorry, there's a lot happening right now. And so then we were able to really stay connected in a very, very brand new relationship, in a very brand new situation on different sides of the country, navigating very serious situations. And so,
sir, can you come back, please?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Sorry about that, everybody. As we said at the top of the show, we are going to lose Leon because he does have a job and we want him to keep his job. But we did get a lot out of it from a man's perspective. And Leon, thank you so much. Happy Valentine's Day weekend, brother. We expect that you will do your absolute best this weekend with Brandolyn. So thank you so much. We'll keep talking with her.
I'll definitely be putting a smile on her face.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Watch that, Bree. All right. So anyway, Brandolyn, you were talking about the fact that it did take you some time.
Yes. So, for me, I was focused on my career. I was just focused on figuring my life out. And, when I went back home to California, helping my mom with her situation, and then his mom passed away actually while we were there, while I was in California, how we were able to navigate that, I was like, if I were to get married, I would marry him. Right. I was like, the way that he was able to be there for me and still dealing with all the things he was dealing with, and how we were able to be there for each other. And we were like 8 weeks into a relationship dealing with our moms on separate side of the country, dealing with things. And, just the way that we were able to build. When I got home from that trip, I was a little traumatized. His mom had just passed away. He was a little traumatized. I walked into my apartment because I'd given him the key. Like, I don't know how long I'm going to be gone. Just, look out for my place. He had a Christmas tree set up. He had gifts. He cooked. And I literally came home and was like fell apart. And in that moment, I was immediately in love. I was like, the fact that he did all of that while he was dealing with all of that was just incredible. I was like, yeah. And then we got on his mom's birthday and got married on my birthday. And there we go.
Let me ask you, first of all, Walter, as I said, you were on season 4 of Ready to Love. Sabrina was on season 5. The person that you picked did not pick you, and I know Sabrina left late in the season. Yes, I love that show. I've not missed an episode, so that's my guilty pleasure. But what did you just? So what you were just going to steal her from another show? Is that what happened?
Actually, she hollered at me.
Yeah, I approached him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
While she was filming her season.
Yeah, technically, yes, that is what happened. It was during the pandemic, well, the late stages of the pandemic. So we were really supposed to be like sequestered. We weren't supposed to be going anywhere, but we heard that there was going to be a party for the previous season. And me and one of the other girls on the show, we decided to sneak out, right? And go and look and go to the party with no expectations of really connecting with anyone. We just wanted to just kind of go and have some fun and see what a launch party would be like. Unbeknownst to me, didn't know that it was his party, did not know he existed, did not know anything like that. And then at the party, we're having fun, like seeing the way the crowd is reacting to the launch of their season. And it was almost like a dare, almost like you should go and say hi to him, blah, blah, blah. And I looked over and I was feeling my liquid courage at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'll go do that. I'll go say hi to him. And, and so, I did. I walked straight up to him and started a conversation. And it was just like, as soon as we had a chance to actually like sit down and talk, the chemistry was just like, it was there. It was thick. You could feel it. You could touch it. It was like, oh, this is weird. I didn't go into that party looking for anyone. It was just simply just something fun to do, just to see what the season before was doing. But I remember leaving that party and turning to my girlfriend who was on the show with me and being like, I'm in trouble. And she was like, why? And I was like, because I really like him. And that was like the first time we met. Like the first night we met, we had like this undeniable chemistry. But it took us about like another 4 or 5 months to actually talk because I was still filming. I was still filming.
No,
like
because she ghosted me. Let's keep it 100. She ghosted me for the next 4 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she went back to filming, and when she got back on set, she found out that one of my exes from a long time ago was on the show with her, and that was like her arch nemesis on the show.
Mm-hmm.
So she was like, "Oh, you dated her?" So when I called her, like 2 days later, she was being real dry and disconnected from me because she had this inside information. And I'm like, "What happened to the chemistry?" So I figured maybe it was a fluke. Maybe we just had a dry conversation. I'll call her back. When I called her back the second time, she didn't answer. I was like, oh, okay. So I just sent a text message, said, I called. And then I didn't get nothing for about 4 months after that.
Well, then let me ask you this, Walter. When did you know that you were in love with Brina?
That's a good one. I will say that it was a buildup. Like I said, that first night, when I first looked at her, when she tapped me on my shoulder, when I looked at her, the first thing I thought was, she looks like a wife. And I don't know why I thought that. That's not something that usually comes in my mind, right? Usually it's like, I want to hit, I looked at her like, she looks like a wife.
Family show. Thank you, Walter. I can always depend
on but that's what I looked at her and said, yeah. She was wife. Then when I saw her again, at her premiere party, the chemistry was instant again. And we were in each other's faces all over again the second time. But I say it wasn't until I had some time away from her. I went to Ghana for a couple of weeks. And I'm in Ghana calling her and I'm missing her. And we had a conversation about being exclusive. And I was like, yeah, I'm good. Okay. I wasn't really, it didn't seem like, oh man, I got to give up my women or anything like that. I was like, all right, like I want to be with you. I enjoy being around you every day. I enjoy you being up underneath me every day by that time. So it just felt like she felt like home.
Yeah. Before the break, I wanted to give Dr. Roz a chance to just kind of comment briefly on what you've heard from both of these couples from a clinical standpoint, because it was very, very different about when they knew they were ready.
I first of all, Leon and Brandolyn, I love the story. You fell literally in his arms. I did not know that. I love that. And I didn't know you and I had something in common. We both got married on our birthdays. How cute is that? How cute is that? I love that. And then with you two, it's great that you didn't pick each other in your premieres because you guys were meant to be here. So, and I'm looking at you. You both are cute as a button. You're like the cutest little couple ever. Like you just should be together. So I love the idea that you guys were able to find love. But I love what you said in terms of you didn't mind being around her and her being up under you. That is key because people can get on your nerves, but when you enjoy the company, no, I mean, let's be honest. Like if it's somebody you're not feeling, every little thing about them will irk you. But if you enjoy that person's company, like that was key. That was a great sign for you to be in touch with yourself and to have insight and to know that this is the one for you. And I guess Brandolyn and Leon, you both were ready. You both were in a place of where you were ready to love someone. And so that makes a difference. He had already made a decision that he wanted a wife, right?
Roz, hold that point because I do have to take a quick break and I'll let you finish your point.
Okay.
On the other side, the Daily Drum Insight segment will continue on Sirius XM channel 141. The Original Quiet Storm with Raheem Devon is coming up next on WHUR-FM. We'll be back in just a few seconds. Welcome back to the Daily Drum on Sirius XM channel 141. I'm Harold Fisher. We continue our Valentine's Day conversation, and tonight we're asking, how do you know when you are ready to love? My guests are Dr. Roz Aker-Black, relationship expert and clinical psychologist. Also, Brandolyn Anderson. She is here with us. We heard from her husband earlier, Black man working. He had to go, but we did hear from him, and we appreciate the time that he was able to share with us. Also, Walter and Sabrina Jones. Dr. Roz, in the previous segment before the break, you were talking about just kind of what you were hearing from both of them. Please finish your point.
Yeah, so I was going to say that Brandolyn and Leon, they both had made this idea that they were ready to be in a serious relationship, but it all started with like a decision, and I hear that with both couples. Leon decided that he wanted a wife. He no longer wanted just a relationship. And when Walter saw Sabrina, he decided that she was a wife. So he had made a decision about who she was before he even got to know her. And I think because he had made that decision for himself, that it created the chemistry for them, and they made it work for them because he made a decision. And here's the thing. We often put relationships right in the hands of a man because we are always waiting on the man to get down on one knee. But I want to say this for women too. You still have power in your relationship too, because it's your relationship. You have a choice to make too. You could choose whether you want to deal with this guy or not to deal with him. But it seems like in both couples, they both were amenable to the idea of giving the person a chance. But because the men made the decision that they were wives, they made them their wives.
Brandon, I want to ask you this, and this I think is a really important question. What does love feel like to you? Or better yet, what did it feel like to you 11 years ago? Was it butterflies? Was it nervousness? Was it peace? Was it excitement? And how have those feelings changed or evolved?
I will have to say that with Lee, it's literally been, the analogy I always use is I can take my shoes off. I can be comfortable. I don't have to, I can come in and settle and get comfortable and be myself. And so for me, that feeling of love was always just like, I'm safe here. You know what I mean? Like no matter what's going on in the world, like I'm safe here. And that has remained consistent over the 11 years. We were just talking the other day, like we both are in the longest relationship and marriage that we've both ever seen, like in our families and all of that. And it's just because we walked in as ourselves and we were able to completely be ourselves. There was no change this and change that and adapt this. It's like, we're just who we are. And we've been able to grow together with that. So, safety, peace, calm, taking my shoes off, being comfortable is what love feels like to me.
Was it ever just kind of exciting and kind of joyous, or did you always have with Leon that feeling of peace, of zen?
I mean, it happened so fast. You know what I mean? Everything happened so quickly. On our first date, this man told me, because I was dating someone else at the time, casually. Casually.
Oh, now it comes out.
Now it comes out.
Now it comes out.
Listen, I was straight up because again, marriage was not on my bingo card. So I was like, whatever. So look, I'm dating this other dude. He's in Philadelphia. It's a situation. I was like, I just want to be straight up. And so he literally looked at me and said, the only thing you have to worry about with that other man is whether or not you're going to invite him to our wedding. Oh, I was like, sir, we just.
Wow.
And he was not playing. And so for me, I thought it was funny. I remember laughing loudly in the restaurant when he said that, but he was very serious. And so the feelings just happened. Like we were, again, I was mentioning, we were navigating such very large challenges as individuals that he was my safe space. And so like, it just kind of consistently, and when he proposed with my grandmother's ring. He had it reset. And when I saw the ring, I was very confused because I was like, why is my grandmother's ring? What's happening? You know what I mean? And it was so fast, but it felt right. And it's always felt right. Like, it does not feel like we've been married for 11 years. It feels like we've been together for a short time because it still feels really good.
I like your husband.
I do too.
Yeah, I really like your husband because
you got game.
Leon needs to teach a master class. Teach a master class. Leon needs to teach a master class. Indeed.
That is very romantic. It is very purposeful. It is thoughtful, and I applaud that. I really applaud that. Now, before the break, I had asked Walter this, Brina, but outside of that initial feeling of intense chemistry, when did you know that you were in love with him? And what did that feel like? What happened?
It was very early on. I'm not gonna lie. It was really, I feel like I knew I was falling in love with him very early, but didn't say anything initially. I think it was just that, like, dancing. I think it was just like feeling very just like comfortable and safe with him. I always say that, you know, Walter's my safe space, but also like our relationship, our life together is like my greatest adventure in the same respect, right? Mm-hmm. So I completely agree with Brandolyn when she talks about, I love the way she said, take your shoes off. Like, that's such a great way of talking about it, where you could just truly be yourself with that person. But then also to feel like you have that person that you can really do life with, you know, like all of the mundane things, like, you know, grocery shopping and cleaning, and they make those feel special or manageable. And then all the big things, right? Like trips and parties and everything in between, but just feeling like you want to do it with that person. Like, I started to envision my life with him, like having his children. And that's not something that I feel like I would do with other people, especially that early. So I think that just, you know, feeling like, oh man, I have the person I can do life with. And there were things that he was saying about how he shows up for family, how he shows up for people, and how he took care of his mother, and, you know, when she was ill until she passed away. And I'm a huge believer in like how a man shows up for his mother is how he shows up for his partner. And when I heard that he was her primary caretaker until she passed, I was like, oh, no matter what I'm going through, he will be there for me. So there were just things that just made me feel so safe and comfortable. And I knew that I had a life partner, regardless of like the status of boyfriend, fiance, and now wife. I love that I'm a wife, but like I knew I had like a life partner. And it just made me like just grow such a love for him and fall in love with him.
You know, Roz,
yes.
One of the things that I'm hearing from both of them, and even before Leon had to leave, he didn't necessarily say it, but I certainly heard it. And you and I have, over the many times that you've been on this program, spoken about the importance of friendship within the loving relationship. Talk to me about what you're hearing from both of these couples about how important that friendship is.
Well, I love the idea that both of these women could be themselves with their partners. And the core theme between both of them was the idea of emotional security. They both, and I think even Leon said that he felt at home, that Brandon was home for him. And I think when you have a friend, you may get into arguments with a friend, but you come back around because you honor the friendship. And I think in a relationship, it's so important to be friends, because at that point you see the person very differently than your spouse. And I know it sounds crazy, but sometimes we treat our spouses in ways that that we probably shouldn't, but we don't necessarily treat our friends bad because we honor the friendship. And so I think if you have a friendship within the relationship, then you're honoring your spouse as your friend and as your partner.
Mm-hmm. Both of you, Walter and Brina, have been married before. Mm-hmm. Did being married before impact your thoughts about doing it again? Brina, I'll start with you.
I mean, yes, it can't help but do that, right? I think that, being married, going through a divorce, it's one of the most traumatic things that you can go to outside of losing a loved one. So you're really thinking about, okay, the next time I take this step, I don't ever want to experience that again, right? Just because I survived that, I don't necessarily want to go through it again. So I think that you're being a lot more careful. I was a lot more careful moving into it, but I was always a believer in love. I'm a believer in marriage. I believe that it can work and it can thrive. So I think that positive mindset still had me open to it, but I think I was a little bit more critical and clear about, what works and what doesn't work for me. In my first marriage, I was much younger. I didn't really know the severity of what I was signing up for, but I knew that I really appreciated the person that I was with and things of that nature. And so I feel like having understood a little bit more what that entails, especially for a long-term relationship, I was going into it with, just eyes wide open and just a better understanding. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What you're obviously, Walter, well, not obviously, but again, you were married before. Your marriage ended differently.
Yeah. My first wife, she passed away, so it wasn't it was traumatic, but not in a divorce type of traumatic type of way. Mm-hmm. You just don't think it's going to happen so quickly, so soon. It really made me realize how mortal we really are. But my first marriage, it made me a better man. It made me more considerate. It made me more humble. And
you,
right? So, and I feel like everything that happens in your life prepares you for the moment that you're in. So, my first wife passing away, taking care of my mother until she passed away, all these things gave me different tools to deal with life, and it prepared me to be with Sabrina. Mm-hmm. It gave me a level of understanding, a level of patience, valuing the moment, valuing being in her presence, and all those other things. So I feel like everything that I went through prepared me to be a better man and a better husband for her. Had I met her 15, 20 years ago, I might not be the same guy. Right? I might still be wild. Where now I'm like, I see the value in what home she brings to me and what peace she brings to me.
Brandon, when you think about the last, almost 11 years, what have you learned about yourself in this marriage?
Oh, baby, I learned I'm patient. I have the patience of a saint. I'm waiting for my angel wings and my house in the heavens because, baby, patience. Patience. No, I really realized that I'm a caregiver at heart. I'm a Cancer. And so literally I'm everybody's mom and everybody's auntie. But really just learning how to be patient with someone, because I literally have had thoughts of man, if we break up, I gotta get a lawyer. Dang, it's not worth it, right? And so literally it's just okay, we're gonna have to move forward and we're gonna have to work this out, but learning how to communicate and learning that my voice is important and my needs are important. So when I say, my husband and I don't fight, we do not fight. He can get loud and spin around in circles if he wants to. I'm just gonna look at him like he's crazy while he does that. But we know to take a second and come back when we're both can have a conversation. I'm not yelling. I'm not doing all that. He's a Leo, so he likes to get loud. I just look at him like, all right, when you're done, I'll be over here, right? And so understanding that's okay, right? Because I need to be in a space where I can have a conversation, where I can think things clearly, where I can assess my wrong and my right, and I'm usually right. And so, just really kind of understanding that, like, that's okay too. So learning that my voice is important, my needs are important, being able to communicate that. It's okay to have boundaries as well, for your own personal boundaries, and knowing that when we both need space and both when we can, be together. But, I think I used to think of marriage as, what you see in the movies. It's not that. But it's also, there is no formula for marriage. Every couple is different. Everything works for every you have two separate individuals coming together to build a life together. There is no formula for that. At all.
I want you to know what it is. Hold on.
But understanding that, and learning that, I think was one of the most important lessons I learned.
Roz, when you think about this Valentine's Day weekend, I have heard men say Valentine's Day is for women. There certainly is I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, and I'm going to stand 10 toes down on this. There's a certain class of men who call other men simps because they live their love for their wives out loud. That I don't understand those guys. I think they need to take a class from Walter or Leon about, and maybe those guys are single. Who knows?
I'll say they sound lonely.
Yeah,
right.
then there's that. But but Roz, how gosh, I don't even know how to ask this question. I know a lot of women say, Valentine's Day is every day. Some guys maybe don't think of it, that much. But is it different for men, even those who are passionate about their wives or their significant others, than women? I mean, and I'm talking clinically. When you've spoken to, to the people that you've counseled, and they talk about the clashes about learning to love each other, what do you hear from them?
That's a great point, Hera. And I think we have to realize how men love. Men love showing action. It's an action for them. And so those men want to do for their wives, right? Or their paramours or the girlfriends or whoever they're spending, significant other, whoever they're spending time with. It's an action for them. And for women, because we're more nurturing, we think that we're doing it every day, that we're nurturing the relationship. And sometimes we miss the piece that he wants to feel appreciated too. And when you hear people say, oh, it's every day and we don't celebrate Valentine's Day, it's because they haven't felt appreciated in the relationship. And so you have to make a concerted effort to make sure that you are appreciating each other. Now, whatever that looks like, it doesn't have to be, like I'm going to buy you this Louis next week. It doesn't have to be that grand. It could be the small gestures. If I go out to the store, I'm going to pick up your favorite snack. If I'm in the store, if I see something that I think you would like, I'm just going to pick it up for you. It could be just very small things. But I think sometimes we forget to, and when I say we, I'm speaking as a wife myself, sometimes you forget to show the appreciation for your spouse. Not that you don't appreciate them, but it's the reality of everyday stressors get in the way. And sometimes we just don't take a beat to breathe, right? And to really realize what's going on in the relationship. And so I think you have to realize first who your spouse is, how they show love, and how they want to receive love. You have to have those conversations early on. So in fact, that you can make sure that you are showing up as your best self in the relationship and that everybody's needs are getting met. So when one person's needs aren't met, it causes friction. And so if there is someone that's feeling unappreciated in the relationship, it's going to come out some kind of way in the relationship, whether it's infidelity, whether it's financial infidelity, whether it's emotional infidelity, spending time with someone else, where they they feel like. It's the perceived idea that they are feeling appreciated with that person. It is important that you are in tune with, and my parents, bless their hearts, they were married for 47 years before my dad passed, and just past January, they would have celebrated 65 years of marriage. But my father was very great about doing this. He would have family meetings with us every Sunday. And it was the opportunity for us to talk about what's going right in the family and what's not going right in the family. And so we got to adjust every week on things that we needed to do. And so that taught me that you have to be in tune with what is taking place in your household, because if not, too many everyday stresses get in the way. And there are too many opportunities to feel as if you are not being appreciated, or to feel as if you don't matter in a relationship, that you're not desired in a relationship. And so you have to look at the total perspective of your relationship and make sure that you are meeting the needs of the totality of your relationship, if that makes sense.
Can I also hop in?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
That's an important part, because you have to get attuned to the needs of your partner, not the idea of this is what women or men or non-binary people want, right? So like in the beginning, my husband, Tiffany this and gifts this, and I was like, thanks so much. I already have that. You know what I'm saying? Like I can buy this stuff for myself.
So that's not your love language. So
that's not my love language. It literally was like, let's spend time together. Let's cook together. Let's go take a walk. Like, let's just, chill and vibe. Like that's really what it was. But we had to learn that about each other. Now, don't get me wrong. I was very grateful for every single gift and every single thing. But he quickly learned that like, that's not oppressive to me being able to really spend time with you and be with you and get that time no one else can is what's important to me. And so we have to learn that, but I think it's so important. Like, again, get out of that cookie cutter. Nothing is cookie cutter. People are people, relationships are relationships, and you have to find what works best for you all.
I wanted to ask Brina this, and I asked Brandolyn this, because again, you said you met Walter. It was during the pandemic. You all just got married in November. What did you learn about yourself during the course of this courtship? I know that's an antiquated word, but it wasn't meet Walter and you just jumped the broom. There was a process for you.
Yeah, definitely. When you're in a relationship with someone and you guys have your moments, it can be a mirror of the things that you necessarily don't do the best, or the areas that are challenging for you. And I realized that, unlike Brandolyn, I am not a patient person. I am the least patient person. That is not my virtue. And I think it's because I'm a Virgo and I'm wired towards efficiency and organization and getting it done and implementation. But I am married and in love with a Pisces who's much more laid back and chill and just think. And so there was like a lot of just adjusting in that regard. But I also think that there were a lot of like just self-reflections that I had to look at, like, why am I killing myself to have things done in a certain way when it's bringing out the worst in me and impacting my relationship? Like, there's no awards, there's no hero cape, Sabrina, for knocking out the to-do list, you know what I'm saying, ahead of schedule. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's not like, and like, not only that, are you really enjoying life? Are you really enjoying things just because you got it done? Whereas you could maybe approach it a little bit slower, or maybe approach it differently and have fun with your partner, instead, or just enjoy doing things in a different timeline. It may not be the linear way that you want to do it. It may feel roundabout, but hey, that was the fun way of getting it done. And so I've had to like really think about that for myself and how I approach my relationship, my goals, my dreams here at home, but also just like in other aspects of my life. Like, I just realized that was something I had to work on, but that came about because Walter, he's wired so differently from me, right? So when we're having these conversations and I'm stressed out trying to get things done, and he's like, well, where did this deadline come from? You're saying, how did this happen? You know, I think that and it's something I still struggle with, right? Like, cause I'm always looking at like maximum like productivity, how I get these things on to the next goal, to the next thing. And so I've had to learn throughout the course of this courtship that like, I have to move differently and timelines look differently when you're moving when you're moving with someone that you love. And it's better to get there together than to get there alone and stressed out and in friction with your partner. And so it's something I continue to work on, but it's something I realized in this relationship.
Mm-hmm. I am almost out of time, and gosh, I really wish Leon was here because I wanted to ask him this question and wanted to ask both Walter and Leon this question. So I'll have to have Walter do all of the speaking in that regard. You know, Walter, what advice would you give to men who think that they're in love or want to be in love? How do they get there and be at peace with the process?
Oh, I would say make sure that your heart and your mind agree. You know, if your heart is like, oh, she's the one, and your mind is like, don't listen to your heart, bro. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's going to end up being toxic. If your mind is there and your heart's not there, then you might feel resentful because so just because this person checked off all the boxes, you don't feel like it's home. You're still maybe looking for that feeling that you feel like you're missing. So you really want your heart and your mind to agree, and that's how you know.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's a great piece of advice because everybody wants to know, when am I going to be ready to love? How will I know when I'm ready to love? I think that's a great way to end this conversation. Dr. Roz Aker-Black, always good to see you, sis.
You as well.
Brandon Anderson, thank you so much. And thank you for sharing Leon with us, even for a brief moment. I think you're doing okay. And Walter and Sabrina Jones, it is, Sabrina, it's so good to finally meet you.
I know.
Yes, and you did a good job on Walter. You have changed.
That's what all my boys say.
Yes, indeed. Thank you all so very, very much. I really appreciate it. That is the Daily Drum for this Friday, February 13th. For News Director Renee Nash, I'm Harold Fisher. Good night and have a wonderful and loving Valentine's Day weekend.